There's lots of different occasions when people just simply don't like being asked a question. Now, this can be when you're kind of put on the spot and you've got to give an answer and you might not know the answer and you don't want to be humiliated, you don't want to feel ashamed, you don't want to give the wrong information out. So you might be careful in how you approach the answer, or you might fear saying no to somebody, but you know the answer needs to be no because you've got a prior commitment. So you can find yourself finding it very difficult to answer a simple question. When it comes to narcissistic people, they do not like answering questions because they don't believe they should have to answer to you or to anyone for that matter. They believe that they are entitled to do as they please, which we all are to an extent. However, narcissistic people do things that hurt other people and lack the empathy to care for how their behaviour negatively impacts those around them. So they make it so that you can't do everyday things for fear of reactions from them. However, they can do things that you wouldn't do to them because you know it's wrong, that it's immoral. They can do them and it's okay for them. When it comes to a narcissistic person, as they don't believe that they need to answer to you, you rarely to never get a straightforward answer out of them. They can be some of the most secretive people you could ever meet. Now, we can all have our secrets that are basically no one else's business other than our own and perhaps another party. With a narcissistic person, they leave out information that if you had that information, you would make a choice that doesn't work in the narcissist's favour. And they like causing that intrigue. They like knowing something that you don't know. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel superior. So when it comes to asking a narcissist a question, and it can just be simple things like, what are we going to do this weekend? Oh, I don't know yet. And yes, we can all have those moments where we don't know. However, we usually try to phrase our answer a little bit nicer. Now, when you know that you've got an event coming up and a narcissistic person is going to be negative about that event on the build up to the event, you might find yourself keeping that information to one side because you know that they're just going to bring it crashing down. They're going to be negative. They're going to put obstacles in the way. And when you're in this situation where you cannot openly communicate with somebody for fear of their reactions, it's time to safely get out of that situation. When you ask a narcissistic person, they don't want to answer to you because they believe they're in control over you. So it's all about them. Everything should be about them and them getting their needs met. They're not interested in you or you making plans or what you would like to do. And in the beginning, when they're looking to win you over. So asking a narcissist a simple question, one of the most confusing things they'll do is answer your question with a question. They'll spin it onto you. They'll try to get you onto the defensive. They might just outright ignore you, which is really frustrating when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they just carry on eating their food or whatever it is that they're doing and completely blank you. And if you try and speak a bit louder, they continue to blank you. And then if you try and say it a little bit louder, thinking they've not heard you, they just turn around and say, "Can't you see I'm busy?" There's never a right time to ask a narcissistic individual a question who does not want to answer your question. You can ask them in the evening and they'll claim that they're tired. Do we have to talk about this now? So you can ask them in the morning and they'll claim that they're in a rush. Do we have to talk about this now? You can ask them when they come home, "Oh, I've had a long day. Do we have to talk about this now?" You can ask them again later on, "Oh, you always have to ruin everything, don't you? We were having such a good evening," and then you go again and ruin everything, all because you asked them a simple question that they didn't want to answer. So they'll be evasive and they'll avoid answering the question at all costs, which can wind you up, especially if you're trying to make plans with people, because they won't give you that information. They're just going to avoid it. They can come at you with the false accusations. You're the one that has to ruin everything. Why are you making this all about you? You're being selfish, you're being awkward. Because a narcissistic person simply believes that everything is all about them, and if you put anything before them, then you're being selfish. You don't care about them. They are a little bit like that child who's not learned to recognise those sorts of things yet, that other people do have other commitments. They believe that if you put a commitment before them, then you simply don't care. Ask them a question and they'll go all out to find a way to humiliate you, to shame you, to mock you. Their arrogance takes over and they want to make you feel stupid. They want to make you feel dumb. Ask a confident person a question that doesn't know the answer. They'll tell you they don't know the answer, or they'll tell you where you could look for the answer, or they'll look it up with you. Ask an arrogant person and they'll make something up, or they'll make you feel dumb for daring to ask them that question. Ask a narcissistic person a question and they'll go all out to gaslight you. They'll deny all knowledge. They'll pretend they know nothing about what you're talking about. They will outright lie to you. They will go all out to blame you. Well, if you'd have paid me more attention, I wouldn't have had to go elsewhere. Well, if you'd have listened to me in the first place. So you feel like you can never have that open communication with them because they always turn it around into how you've offended them in some way. And to the narcissist, you have offended them by asking them that question. They will interrupt you. A narcissistic person asks them a question and they will divert it onto the line of conversation that they want to talk about without directly answering your question. And if you try to step in and bring the question back into the conversation, they'll start out-talking you. They'll start talking over you. Or they will go all out to play the victim in the situation and claim that it's you that doesn't care, that it's you that's not listening, that it's you that's criticising them, that it's you that's giving them those false accusations. They will go all out to project out onto you. So you get to a point where you can't ask them a simple question about something because you're made out to be the bad guy. And not only are you made out to be the bad guy, they will also get their flying monkeys and enablers to join in and sabotage you and ruin you in some way, all because you dared to ask them a simple question. Another method is when they just start humming and singing away to themselves. So you ask them a question and they walk out of the room humming away to themselves. They're looking to wind you up because that's where they get their power from. They get the power from controlling your emotions, gaining your reactions so that they can blame you and shame you and turn around and say, look, this is why I can never have a conversation with you. Look at how you're reacting. Because you've got that much anger and resentment and frustration built up in you because they won't just answer that simple question. You can react negatively to them and then they shift all the spotlight onto you and what a terrible person you are, and this is why they never want to communicate with you about things, which gets you walking on eggshells around them and no longer communicating with them about the things that you need to communicate about, which just causes more pent-up anger because things never get resolved with a narcissist. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments with people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have a couple of books out on Amazon, 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People if you cannot go no contact, and a Narcissists Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse. Go out there and create the day that you deserve because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.